Today we're going to be making kale chips. This is a new thing for me and we've really enjoyed it. You actually get a bunch of kale. Today I'm actually going to be using collard greens. A farmer friend of mine has a bunch of this growing. It's a dark leafy green, very thick. Normally what you do is boil it up for, he told me, hours. Anyways, I tried it with the collard greens and it was delicious. We're going to be taking the collard greens. I'm going to show you a couple of tips on how to get this dense, stocky stem out of there. I just take it, my left hand is going to pull and I'm going to use my round, make a round between my index and thumb and kind of just strip. Let's see if it works. No, let's try it again. Well, what you want to do is take this dark stem, this tough stem out. Let's try it again. That's better. As you can see, the stem now has been removed and all I'm left with is the green leaf. Take it, rip it up into bite-sized pieces. I'm dropping it into some cold water because these are very dusty from the field. If you find any dark stems, like in this piece right here, you can take that out too. Throw that away. Tear it into bite-sized pieces. The kids might have fun doing this and you might engage them in eating a healthy snack. Rip it up into bite-sized pieces. I'm going to dip them in some cold water. Get all the soil from the farm off. Let that settle. All the debris and soil is going to settle down to the bottom of the water. Just let that sit there for a second. I've got my salad spinner here. This is a device, large plastic bowl. It's got a mesh strainer inside. It sits on a little pin, and you can see it can spin. I'm going to take my washed collard greens and spin the water out of it so they're nice and dry. You notice what I have left over here? There's a lot of soil and sand residual. We don't want to eat that. So this is how we're going to remove it. Put my top on the salad spinner and just give it a few plunges. You'll notice that I have a lot of water coming out. I'm going to do it one more time because they still look a little wet. Stopper here. We've got a lock that keeps the handle down. Take the basket out again. About another teaspoon of water coming out of there. Put that aside. I've already washed a bunch. I'll put my washed and dried kale here. Now, since I've been doing this for a few times, the recipe is to take 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Other people I've noticed been adding cayenne pepper, garlic salt, whatever seasoning you want, but the basic recipe is 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You put it in a plastic bag, and I actually save this in the freezer instead of throwing away and using a new one. I'm going to put my mixture right into the bag and then put my greens into the baggie here, and we're going to massage this dressing all over the leaves. Fill it right up, seal it, squeeze a little of that air out. I'm sure the kids would like this. Just kind of massage it in there, swish it. You're not hurting the leaves at all. You get that dressing everywhere. I'm going to open it and remove some of this air. Some people do this in a bowl, get their hands oily. You could do that if you'd like. I've got a pan here, my cookie sheet with parchment paper. The oven is on preheat to 300. I'm sure if you had a convection oven, it might even go faster, but it takes me about 20 minutes in my standard 300-degree oven. I'm going to take the greens and now sprinkle them about one layer worth. Get that evenly spread out. I've got another pan. Usually one bunch, I use about 2 cookie sheets worth. I now take my plastic bag, roll it all up, and stick it in the freezer for the next time. Spread my greens out, make sure they're kind of evenly spaced. And then we just place them in the oven for about 20 minutes. And when they come out, you'll have a very fun chip. Healthy, getting your greens in there. It's a nice snack. And we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so our kale chips are done cooking. We're going to shut the oven off and pull them out. I had 2 pans in there, so I actually rotated the pans the last 5 minutes and give the top sheet a little more time on the bottom. I also took my tongs and just kind of turned them, as you can see. Maybe these aren't done quite as crisp. I can throw them back in the oven. You can kind of hear it. They look a little bit softer than these here. As you can see, these chips are well dried, well baked. Quite different than this one. It looks still a little moist. So I'm going to throw these back in the oven. Another 5 minutes or so. But here we have our kale chips. They're crispy. They're dry. Take them. That's a fun snack. If you'd like, you can try different seasonings. As I mentioned earlier, garlic, cayenne, a little black pepper. I started out with maybe half a teaspoon of salt, and I reduced down the recipe to 1/4 because I didn't want it overpowering. Enjoy!